Yeah, hello, and hello, everyone. Um, Welcome to this school business conference. Um, yeah, it is awesome to be live and to be in this conference. And so quickly, this is a conference that's been designed to address some pressing issues, in our in the education landscape and also economy-wise. So we see that there are a number of threats, a number of challenges facing the school business in a time like this, and in a country like ours, Nigeria. So many things have happened here, and these things mean a lot of things, right? Locally and even globally. There's been I mean, companies are laying off, thousands upon thousands of workers. I know Facebook may laid off about 11,000 workers, and every day I'm reading tech about from TechCrunch. I get different kind of things happening, in the business world globally, and most especially in the tech world. Just talking about what is happening, in the business world globally. So people are adjusting, people are trying to, trying to adapt with the current in the business world, right? And the school business is not left behind. So this conference is strategically designed to open the eyes of school leaders, of educators, to these challenges uh, that are here, and and to things we need to do, to prepare to future-proof our businesses, right? Very, very crucial. We don't need to wait again, just like the pandemic that came, and that threw um, many school business off balance, and they had to start looking for how to really put the business together and all of that, right? This is not a pandemic now. This is inflation. This is climate crisis, and these things are really, they are here, right here in Nigeria. We felt it hard. Felt it hard this year in Nigeria. What we know that is the best thing to do is to have a system that is prepared to really withstand all of these things as they come. Right, it is only wise to prepare to build a system, right, that can withstand all of these disruptions, whatever dimensions that they come. That they once again come to this school business friends, and please get ready. So viewing from YouTube or from LinkedIn, um, we want to interact with you through the chat box, right? So let's hear from you from the chat box. Feel free to share your thoughts, to share your what you think about the conversation, to ask questions right from the chat box. That's very important. I want to hear from you. And yes, so that is how we're going to be interacting with our participants today, using the chat box on YouTube or on LinkedIn. Right? So, and as you do that, we're going to be popping up what you're saying on the screen as well, so you can know that we see what you're saying. Yeah, that's just my option. So thank you everyone for joining. For those that will get joined to afterwards, very much welcome. And then it would be nice to know you. Tell us where you're joining from. So in the chat box, you can just put your name, and if you're comfortable putting the name of your school, that's fine. But just tell us your name. If you're from Lagos, let's see you in the chat box. Tell us who you are and where you're joining us from. We'll see you. Thank you for joining the session. Right. So we have our speakers in the studio, and, and then I introduce them in a bit. So let me start by introducing our first speaker for today. Our first speaker for today is, one sec, please. I need to do this well. So I don't know. Yes, our first speaker for today is Mr. Biola Oseni. Uh, so Mr. Biola Oseni is a solution architect, a business strategist, and a transformation leader. Is the founder of Notify School Accounting, an accounting automation tool that helps schools maintain healthy cash flow so that school operations can run efficiently. The digital platform has processed over 20 million dollars in school fees in the last 5 years. Mr. in various vertical markets such as electricity, distribution companies, oil servicing, banks, fintech, etc. Aside that, Mr. Abiola loves to read, dance, and swim. So Mr. Abiola Oseni is here with us in the studio, and shortly I'm going to bring him up so we can have the first session. Um, but aside from Mr. Abiola Oseni, we also have um, okay, we also have Mrs. Didu Adekogbe in the studio. She's um, the founder and CEO of Global Consult. I know that Flourish Gate Global Consult has been laboring, so hard in ensuring that education leaders across Nigeria understand how to do the business well, right? Flourish Gate Global Consult runs courses for school leaders, for administrators, that happens right through the year, where they get to learn to understand contemporary ways of handling the business and and managing school well. So many programs that Flourish Gate Global Consult runs, and that is controlled, that is led and managed by Ms. Didolo Adekogbe. Thank you so much for joining in this conference. So I'm going to bring up Mr. Biola and Mr. Adekogbe just to say hello to the participants. Yeah, so calling in Mr. Seni and then Ms. Adekogbe. Right. So hi, Mr. Seni, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So can you just say hello to us? They'd like to hear from you. So Mr. Biola, your volume is on the low side. Your volume is on the low side.
Okay, better now.
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. All right. My name is Abdul, and I'm excited to be here. Based on the bio you just read, I was talking about sounds together. I think I have had, but notwithstanding, I'm going to share as many experiences as I've had in the last 7 years. Many things.
He, Mr. Biola, your volume is right. Maybe you might want to do without the earpiece. I think.
Can you hear better now?
Very well, very well,
Is
very
the
well.
volume better?
Yes, very well. It's better
Okay.
now.
All right. Thanks for having me. My name is Abdul. I'm excited to be here to share as many experience as possible with the audience. I'm really, really excited to be here.
Awesome,
Welcome.
awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Uh, yes, all right, Mr. Adekogbe, we like to say hi to the participants.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for putting this together, Mr. Adebayo. Mr. Seni, you're welcome. I am excited to have everybody here because we live in a world that things are changing at every moment, and as schools, we can keep waiting for people to solve the problem for us. We must solve our problems. So I'm so delighted to be here, and I'm sure we're going to have a great time together. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We must solve our problem. We can no longer wait for something to happen from somewhere. We need to rise up to the occasion and solve our problems. Thank you so much. Boy. All right, so cool. We'll just get started. We are going to start today with Tabi, and so for everyone that is joining again, join from YouTube or again, please, we want to hear from you as interactive as possible. You can interact with this conversation. All you need to do is just hit the chat box on YouTube and then share your thoughts. Right? It's just that easy. Share your thoughts and let's hear from you, and then keep the conversation active right here. Conference. Okay. So once again, welcome, Mr. Abiola. It's good to have you here. So straight to it. This first about the inflationary trend. It's about the inflationary trend. So this year, early in the year, the World Economic Forum released a report called the Global Risk Report. In that report, it was specifically mentioned, that of course one of the things that we'll deal with is inflation and all of that. And it was mentioned that Africa was going to be the most affected by this crisis, actually. And then, as the year unfolded, we started seeing this happening. We started seeing this manifesting. And right now, we're just about to end the year. And next year, 2020, the federal government of Nigeria is coming up with several things. There are so many things coming from several corners, right? Globally, there's a recession. Here in Nigeria and Africa, facing inflation, right? And looking at this inflationary trend, Mr. Abiola, you know, um, what are the things you think school leaders, school business need to take into consideration? Um, Maybe you want to start by export inflation is, right, and how it affects school business. I think we should start from there, right? Explaining what
All
inflation is, how it impacts school business. I think let's start on that note, and afterwards I'll come up with a question.
right. Okay, thank you, Mr. Uh, sorry, I just Lomaja. I
Yeah,
hope I pronounced it properly. Yeah.
perfect,
So
perfect.
let's start from the economics 101. What does inflation actually mean? It means that you have so much money, or you spend so much money, get little. Let's just keep it as simple as that. You spend so much money to get little. Yeah, that's what inflation is all about. So when inflation comes into existence like that in an economy, business are affected and individuals are affected. Now, when businesses are affected, the problem with them is that they start having slow. If it's a service, they probably will also have low revenue collection. Then they still have very high costs in running the business. All right. So they have slow rate of revenue collection or sales, and they still have very high cost of running the business. So that's the impact of inflation on the businesses. But when it comes to individuals, individuals have they have a way where they are affected by their income. Once inflation sets in, disposable income for an individual goes down completely. Now, let me give you a typical example. What you used to do with 100,000 naira about a year ago, around this time a year ago, okay, it's probably going to just get you something like 40% of the same thing that you'll have gotten last time. That is 100,000 naira now today is giving you a value of 40,000 naira. So that's what it means. And once that happens, individuals are having very, very low or no disposable income to do any other things. So how it affects them is that they now start to adjust on priorities. Okay, individuals start to adjust priorities. Businesses start to trim down on costs, right? So businesses will trim down on all their costs, overhead and everything. Some will even have to lay off staff, in the course of optimizing, because some processes they will eliminate them, and the people used to fulfill those processes are taken off. All right. So you see them cutting down costs by all means. But for individuals, you see them changing priorities. Okay, so they change priorities. Now let's talk about those priorities. The first thing first in inflation is that because you get into value for the money you have, the first thing that everybody puts as number one on their priority is food. Okay, they spend the money they have, they first of all spend it on priority one, which is food. The next priority they move on to after is energy, something that has to do with electricity. In times now that we have data, electricity, internet, even fuel, especially fuel. Now that we don't even have some electricity, that means they continue to buy fuel to put on the generator. They buy fuel to fuel their cars so that they will be able to move around and see more opportunities. So that's the second priority. Now the third priority is accommodation. All right. So they want to have a safe place to keep themselves so that they can still keep their hope alive, and protect themselves from environmental threats, right? Diseases, insecurity, and many other things. So that's the third priority. After they have satisfied these three priorities, then the last time moving on to authorities, and I think that is where the school fees comes in. And I think that is the main discussion for today. So how do schools see how parents are going to priorities, and how is it affecting their own revenue, their own school fees collection, and in turn affecting all their overhead? And I think that's what we have to do justice to today.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Just their priorities, and then some basic amenities have to be taken care of, and then they begin to think about, okay, now school fees and school fees and all of that and everything. Now that we are here, and you know, are thinking in this direction, coming to see it or not, but that's the reality they are facing right. Being, what do you think schools can do, right? To ensure with the reality of inflation in place, right, they are still able to keep a business, right? You know,
Hmm.
the cost of running business, right, doesn't come at a disadvantage, because of course every month the month ends, they need to pay salaries, right? The salaries. I know right now in the mind of school are happening, several conversions, and for teachers to other end, teachers are beginning to look at him, what's happening. Maybe the same thing you are still, just like you said, according to the reports we're getting into area, right? You gave an 100,000 last year, about just about 40%, that. So all of those realities, right? The price of things are increasing, and my salary is not increasing, right? That's on the educator side, right? So educating that twist, they're like, what is happening? Does my school have any plan for me and all of that? And then school also have, so what do you think school needs to do as a business, right, to manage itself and ensure that there is a smooth ride in the time like this, and especially for 20?
That question. 2023 is going to be a very wonderful year. Let me be positive, and let me not say negative things. The inflation is going to increase massively, and businesses are going to either innovate or die. And those who do not innovate will die. So where do come in at this time? There are two drivers for every business. You have sales as number one, and you have cost as number two. Those are the two drivers for every business. So when it comes to school business, especially those ones we've worked with in the last 7 years, we have realized that school business has very, very, very high gross profit, high margin of gross profit. That is when a school has 100 students, and they are taking 10,000 per student. So they are expecting 10 million naira as their profit, right? Sorry, they are expecting 10 million naira as school fees. You'll be surprised that out of that 10 million naira, just probably maybe 200,000 or 100,000 is actually their direct cost of sales. When I mean direct cost of sales, that is some very pertinent costs that make up a student. All right. So the rest 9.5 million naira is a gross profit for them. But before now, most of those school owners believe that this whole 9.5 million is a profit. But it's not profit, it's just a gross profit. It is this gross profit that you will now use to now offset all your overhead, such as rent, such as electricity, such as stationery, such as salary, such as maintenance and repair, and all of that. By the time they offset most of this overhead, the pocket as surplus. It's actually probably 1 million naira. So you see, our school actually runs almost 90% in cost, 10% in profit. But when inflation sets in, all those overhead will also increase by their own, which they take home as net profit has also been reduced radically to probably 400,000 or 500,000 because of changes here and there. Now, when such happens, schools or business owner or the business leader, we have to check their one. They have to decide to cut down the cost so that they maintain that their 1 million naira net profit surplus, or they increase. Now, the one that is under their control the most is when they cut down the cost. And that's the best part of this whole thing. You have to now sit down and be able to know your numbers. You need to know the numbers that run your business. This is not the time you use emotions to run your business any longer. You must really know, how much am I spending on overhead? How much am I spending on salary? How much am I spending on fuel? How much am I spending on maintenance and repair? How much am I spending? If you look at all those costs, it allows you to begin to trim down. All at this time is to maintain your net profit, that is your surplus. If you don't watch your numbers very well, the inflation will continue to cut down that net profit, that is your surplus, and you end up having nothing. The second part is actually increasing the price. Increasing the school fees. This is the most delicate time any school can increase school fees. You cannot increase any school fees because you do. Remember, parents are battling with change of priorities. What they will do is that they will look for schools who can provide competitive service. It might be as high level quality service like yours, but they will look to still get something. After all, the goal is just to get educated, or high quality education. But they will do something. So because they are managing their priorities, they are watching their cash flows. Increasing school fees is a very delicate thing, and if you have to do that, I'll share a strategy with you on how to do that and how to affect you or let you reduce the number in terms of number of students. In summary, to survive this era, all school leaders and school owners need to now pay attention to their numbers. This is not the time you just sign checks and keep paying bills. You really need to know, what are my numbers? Which area can I cut down? Which area can I trim down? And that's the only way you can survive, or else your net surplus is going to disappear over time.
Session. We need it as a school. We really need to get our priorities very right. I will quickly be looking into the proactive school, how to future-proof your school from various disruptions. And while I was studying and trying to get prepared, I saw a quote by Albert Einstein, and it says, if the bee disappeared off the surface of the globe, the man will have only 4 years of life left. No more bees, no more pollination, no more plants, no more animals, no more man. So this is putting a lot of responsibility on us as humans and as school leaders. You want to begin to wonder, how does bee population have anything to do? Parents are out of school. It's the children that are in school. And as a school leader and a teacher, you teach the parents through the children. So what we want to see, the changes we want to see in the society, we have to teach the children, and the children take it to the parents. Education is key to addressing climate change, and climate change education is the main aim to address effective response to climate change. So, I mean, we have the responsibility. So, what does it mean to be proactive? To be, anticipatory. Begin to preempt and assume that in case this happens, what will I do? We won't wait until it happens. COVID-19 happened to us. We were not prepared. Very few schools were already, prepared, who already adopted technology. But a large number of schools were not. So it happened. And we were all thrown off balance. We shouldn't wait for another one. And we are not done. We are not done with a lot of disruptions. So to be proactive is to act in anticipation for future problems, needs, or changes that may come. It's a way of creating and controlling situations so that we don't get in before we start looking for way out. What about a proactive school? It entails deliberate, conscientious efforts on the part of school management to provide challenge-ready preventive measures. Mr. Seni spoke so much more about finance because finance is key in running a school. No money, no school. I mean, if the owner wants to do charity, will the teachers, we don't want to do charity? No. Everyone who leaves home every day to come to work needs to get something at the end of the month. So, proactive school is one that is prepared, looks at things happening, and then begin to act even before the incident happens. Destruction is disturbance. Problems, it comes in different ways. And, it affects the educational process, it affects the operational process, it affects everything. Now listen, this last few weeks or months, we had flood. Some of our states were submerged, and which means schools were also submerged, and so there was no way children could be educated. A lot of this will keep coming. We are in a VUCA war, VUCA, very volatile, very uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, which means anything can happen anytime. We cannot preempt it. What are some disruptions that are likely? Health, natural disaster, fire, flood, even technology can also still come to disrupt. Climate change, lack of manpower. Because now listen, teachers also see that it's a problem. Do you think they want to remain in the teaching profession? COVID-19 took off a lot of our teachers, and the economic situation of the country also added to it. A lot of educators, very good, sound educators, that japa, they are no longer around. And so this is not the end. What about network issues? Even while we are here, we experience network, and so this is also a disruption. Even when you are online, you are taking classes, something happens. Government policies, look at the CBN policies. All of these things are disruptions. Power, electricity is a major issue. Fuel. We have been at the petrol station for more than 2-3 weeks now, and this is the same fuel that we also use to run school, but because power will not naturally be there, so we need change. We really need to. So many things are happening. A lot of things that are happening in our world, causing a lot of disruptions, even from what we do, generating power, because we don't have natural source of manufacturing goods, cutting down of forests, even the use of transportation. Everybody in Nigeria want to have a car, and as long as we all have, we are depleting the system. The natural system is going through issues. Food production, powering buildings. When you have buildings and then you need to supply electricity, consumption, too much of consumption, too much of waste, and all of this is what is it giving us? Hotness or temperature. You will agree with me. The temperature is hot, and the more farther it is hot, then the more we are depleting the atmosphere. We are still also going to see a lot of severe storms, increased drought, warming, lot of species, rising oceans, not enough food, health issues, poverty, displacement. Mr. Oseni also said the priority of parents also have changed. So parents can begin to look at, if my child needs to go to school, obviously. So which school will my child go? I have to begin to look at how much do I have? What do I do? So there's going to be a lot of reordering of priorities. So that do we ensure as school to save the universe? We must go green. We must go green. We must ensure that our schools key into this green system. We must also ensure, if it is possible for us to talk to parents, can we reduce the number of cars that we put on the road every day? Can parents use school bus? I know that school owners have problem with school bus because parents will never be able to pay enough that meet up with the value of that transportation. But if we can reduce the number of cars, that way. What about in the classroom? What do we use? We waste paper. We waste a lot of materials. Some we just use one page and then the other page is off. Can we ensure that a lot of these things are used, or we even ensure that our materials are soft copy? The food and drinks, how do we package them? I have seen in the most recent years the rate at which we use disposable plates, takeaway plates, plastic bottles, and all of this coming, and they cause a lot of destruction. Can we have a system in school that we can get this reduced? What about when we even do our lessons? Can we put them in soft form so that we will reduce a lot of materials to waste? So how can a school prepare the business of future disruption? You must recognize the value of adaptability. Are you putting yourself at the point that you can adapt, or do you get eat off when there's a challenge? You must recognize the importance, ensuring that your business can survive in whatever situation that must be adapted. Another point too is identify potential disruptors. What are things that are likely to disrupt my business, learning, education? Categorize them, put them in that order. You have to do a matrix order. Most of them are important and urgent. Put them in that right perspective. That helps you. Number 3, create an early warning system. What does this mean? We have to be watchful. We have to be determined. We have to be preemptive. You have to ensure that you are thinking ahead. Number 4, prepare a change plan. There must be a plan. Every school must have change plan. And in the change plan, you must have committee in charge of that. You must have a committee that is in charge. When such changes and disruption comes in, how do you handle it? In terms of information that you give out, in terms of how those issues are attended to. So you must have that. Then also, in whatever you plan, start small. Now listen, we look at things and it looks as if all the things I want to do it at a time, the same time. No, we must start bit by bit. You can't do everything at the same time. Then integrate. Number 6, integrate technology. Yeah, there are a lot of learning management systems. There are a lot of management apps. There are still schools who don't even use them. How do you intend to? We must have all of this in place so that in case anything happens, learning can continue and we can at least be able to engage our children and ensure that our parents get value for whatever they are. So technology is key. Then we must also be ready for innovation. Innovation is to be critical in thinking. We must to be innovative is to begin to look at scenarios and create answers. We must do scenario planning and then put forth answers. Then you must also develop awareness programs. Some of such environmental clubs in the school. Let there be clubs. Cleanliness drive. Let's ensure that the children can take a walk and pick things, desks, and properly load them where they should be. Then we must ensure that climate change is part of the curriculum. We must deliberately teach it the way we teach numbers and the rest. We must deliberately teach climate change, environmental preservation. We must have policies that are environmental friendly. We must also put posters around the school, everywhere, as the children to the restroom, to the classroom, as they play around the playground. Let there be inscriptions that they read that call their attention to the fact that they ensure the environment is preserved. Teach children the art of empathy for creatures, not just human beings, even for all these animals. Let them also have that at the back of their mind. Let's have special days to dedicate for environment. Maybe once in 2 weeks, one day. As soon as it's 12 noon, everybody in the school community must move around and go and tender a plant a tree, water, just do something. All of these are things that will help us. Innovation is key for us. It's a way of thinking. In a world that is constantly moving forward, if you are standing still, you are going to fall behind. You must continue to move. Technology is a key factor. Creativity, innovation, we cannot stop it. We need to keep moving, execute ideas. Thank you so much for your time. What comes to give to school owners for their legacy? Am I right?
Yeah, for their policies. Because
for their
because
promises.
now we see that policies.
I didn't get that.
Okay, so as regards policies that involves
policies. Okay,
exactly,
okay, all right.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing is have your policies. But just like I said when I was talking, there is what is called adaptability. Even with policies, there is still room for adaptability, some level of flexibility, but not reducing the standard. There is a standard that you have. I mean, the fact that things are not going right doesn't mean you should give substandard education to the children. No, but go back, sit back, look at your value, your school motto, your school culture, and so all that you do to ensure that you are fulfilling that. Ensure that you fulfill your vision, your mission. For example, we can increase school fees. Obviously, that is a no-go area, and you have to pay salaries. And maybe the number of children that will come in probably reduce. Just like you said, integrate technology. Let your materials be ready as soft copy. Ensure the teachers now have their lesson notes in soft copy. Get this already on. So even parents who cannot physically be in school because of the fee, then you can work out a percentage to be paid for being online. And so such materials are available online. You know, a lot of our parents have also traveled, but some of them still believe in Nigeria education, because as much as we say the education is bad, our children are still living here and they are still competing outside there, and they're doing well. So I've been trying to ruminate. I don't know what part of it. So if you are really talking about the fact that education is bad, we should be able to put figures. So these parents who are traveling, they still want their children to be schooled with Nigerian curriculum. And so even as far as they've traveled, you can still have them as your students online.
Yeah.
And then you have your materials. And then for our teachers, if you look at the number, just the way Mr. Hussein said, the moment you look at the number, you find that the number is not as it used to be. You can work out an arrangement. You know, it could be twice in a week or 3 times in a week. We may not have the 5 days a week program again. We may have to look at how many we come in on Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, you must just go back to the drawing board. How many of the children were coming in physical? How many are going to be online? So how many would need to come to school physical? I mean teachers and the other support staff. What areas do we need to take care of? So all of this we need to look into, so that we can be able to, so that the number we have, we can pay. It won't be right for us to have them and not pay, because this is what they are dependent on. So we must work that out. So technology is it. As a matter of fact, that the only way out. Our schools must move online. We must move our school online. So the drive for physical acquisition of landed properties and a lot of things must be put on a scale. You have to scale it now. Do a matrix. Which is it most important now? Will it be meeting me? So what do I need now? You know, so all of these are things we really need to. So look at our policy, look at the culture, and then see what you can afford in terms of physical cash in the number of children that are in school, and then work out the mathematics. Then you'll be able to move on.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ma'am. So you can see again and again. One thing is very clear. This is a strategic time to begin to think about 2023. Ma'am, I have been thinking about the election.
The election,
I know this year and recently, schools were shut down in Abuja for a period of time. I think it has happened twice this year that there was a shutdown of schools in Abuja. And so many things are pointing to the fact that we are praying and we are hopeful that the election is going to be free and fair.
We are hopeful.
But I know that it will also be wise for schools to prepare for fully remote learning. If there's going to be the case of any civil unrest or and all of that and everything. But what would you say to that,
ma'am? Yes, this is a key point here. because we are trusting that it's going to be fair. We are trusting that it's going to be smooth, but we must not leave the fact that anything can happen. So for that season, it's important that we adopt online. Even the school executives that comes up February, we are going to have it in March, because we are all Nigerians. We are also conscious of the fact that things are happening.
Yeah.
We trust that all will be well, but meanwhile, let's be proactive. That is being proactive. That's the proactivity there. Look at what we have. By the time school resume in January, what are we going to do? Yes, let's have them come in January, February. By mid-February, let's go online. Whatsoever, let's go online, and then by the time all things come, and then then we can go back to physical, because movement is critical. These economic policies is also critical. Transportation fuel is critical, and the government, a lot of our roads are bad now because they want to repair it. They have messed it up. Even for school bus, a lot of them are damaged. It requires a lot of money to repair them, and so we must really be smart in our thinking so that we can get out of this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This conference is getting so interesting. And of course, we're going to be rounding up soon. I was discussing with the teacher sometime, I think before the pandemic. No, sorry, during the pandemic. And so he was telling me he works in Turkey. He was telling me that before school resumed, that there was a meeting they had, and they had a plan for distance learning. I was trying to let me understand the fact that as part of their own structure, they feel like, okay, there could be any reason why a child will not be in school. Maybe the child is indisposed, or the family is traveling, or whatever reason it is. They have put together a distance learning platform that ensures that such kids can be engaged. So when the pandemic came, he said they just told him that everybody switched to distance learning mode. And that was how it was so easy for them to scale through the pandemic to an extent. So why schools were some students thinking of what's the way forward? Where do we start from? How do we go about it? How do we, already they had a soft landing and they were able to just move on and catch up with the tide. And like Mr. Adeko kept on saying as she rounded up what he said, let us go online. Let us go online. That's the reality. Let's go online. Okay, I have Mr. Oseni back in the studio. For our participants, it's okay to ask questions now. There are questions that specific to your school environment. Please do what to ask right now. Our speakers are more than happy to respond to your questions. Okay, let me try to get Mr. Oseni back in. So just a quick reminder, in today's conference, there are two major areas that we want to look at and that we're dealing with already. The first part is inflationary trend and dealing with it as a school business. And the second part is being a proactive school. So Mr. Adekobo was already dealt with that area, the area of being a proactive school. 2020 is coming. You need to think about your structure right now and be proactive. Everything we're saying in this conference is about being proactive and being able to deal with inflation even at this time. Okay, so Mr. Sedi, please confirm if you hear me. Can you hear me?
you go, it's breaking. I can manage.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you so much. That's fine. So 2023 is coming. What are your advice on the finance side of things? Finally, in addition to the things you have said before now, what are the counsels, the advice you give to school owners in the school business, as to how to scale through in 2023? So, Mr. Sin, if you are speaking, I'm not sure I can hear you. Oh no. Okay, I think we lost Mr. Sin. Okay, he's going to be back. I believe he's going to be back. So we just a few minutes to the end of this session.
In the face of crisis, they will stand with you, but you must first stand with them, value them. So finance, workforce, major for next year.
Finance and workforce major. So right now, school owners have to really have a great plan for their teachers. So I know a school that adopted 4 days a week. I think what they did was that for the class teachers, they come 4 days, and then the last day of the week was devoted to the clubs. I mean the coding, the other things that are not really core subjects. So those teachers come in on that day. Five for teachers that they relax. They don't come to school, and they just take that time off to refresh and just have some more time. And there's been so many conversations globally about the issue of 4 days a week. I don't know. Just like also mentioned, while you were speaking. It might be a good time to think about these kind of things, right? I feel like the teachers are going to feel excited about that, because they can also do other things to help themselves. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a good approach, because the economic challenge is affecting everybody. Since school fees can be increased, salaries can also be increased, and then transportation has increased. Landlords, they do whatever they like. You understand? So those ones, they don't even want to know if your salary is increased or not. They tell you that it's what we get that we also spend. So you understand? So with that, just like I said, we need to look into, can we structure an arrangement to see that we can reduce the number of time they come, which also reduce their transport. As a matter of fact, it's not reducing. If they come 5 days and it has increased, if they're coming 2 days, don't be surprised that the money for 5 days will go for 2 days. So I mean, let it be that they are not spending more than their usual budget for transport. But we can work that arrangement of okay, 2 days in, 2 days off. Yes, that can work. These are proactive measures that, if all things I mean, we just trust that all of these crises that we're experiencing in Nigeria, by the time we get to January, it will have been resolved. I'm trusting God for that miracle, so that
Yeah.
majority of things may not. But if it continues as it is now to next year, man, it's a serious one, So we
It's really a serious
really
one
need
indeed.
to. Somebody said
Yes,
here,
ma'am.
I think
Yeah.
Alebi Oshuadenike, she
Yes,
said
yes. I was
something
going to
about they
come to that.
lost
Yes.
a low cost school. Parents find it difficult to pay for online data and gadgets. What we will do for such one? It was also one of the things that happened during COVID-19. Design worksheets. Design worksheets. And I want to believe that such parents also resident not too far away from where the school is.
Mm.
You understand? So if you have worksheets, have your rubber jacket that you can have material and it can be taken to them. And of course, there's going to be a pay. You may not now charge per time as it is. You may break down your fee to per delivery of jacket, because you have to look at the caliber of parents you are relating with, so that you can at least, because some people will prepare the worksheet and they also need to be paid. So you must work
Mm.
out that arrangement. So if you have that, if this is going to be delivered weekly, this is how much this delivery and the content costs. So I mean, so that can solve that, because I know that getting gadgets will be expensive, even getting data
Yeah.
and getting
Yeah.
electricity to charge the phone. These are major factors. So we can just get worksheet and let's see how that works, and charge as just that would be like a plan B. Have like up to like
Mm.
3-4 plans. So
Yeah.
whichever one
Yeah.
you can adapt and adopt any of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, have like 3 to 4 plans. That's the word. Oh. Have like 3 to 4 plans. Have the plans mashed out, and then as it comes, school now seems to really sit down right now and do rigorous design work. Look at many factors, put them together, and say, with all these factors, this is model one for our school. Plan one, this is plan two for our school. This is plan three, and we execute based on the circumstance. This has been a great time. We need to go now. We need to round up now. I need to release Mr. Jacob. We have to go now. But please, of course, for those that are not able to join us through time, the recording is going to be available on YouTube. You can go back and look at everything that has been shared. This conference is a cost, and it's something that people should pay for. Those are things they put on Coursera, and just give it one name as a cost. How to scale through difficult times as a school business. So please, everything that has been shared in this conference is very holding. Please do what to go through it. And of course, beyond now, I know that it's possible to reach out to Miss Adikobe. It's possible to reach out to Mr. Oseni. If you have further questions, you want more clarification, why not? Why not? That's just very easy. So again, for those that get to watch afterwards, feel free to share your thoughts. You have questions, ask this in the chat box, and it's going to be responded to duly. So this is where we end this conference for today. Finally,
Finally,
I know Mr. Kobe would like
I
to
know
invite you
Sadio Kogbe would like to invite you
to the conference coming up
to the
next year.
conference
It's
coming
no
up
longer in
next
February, it's
year
now
in
in
March.
March. Would you
Yeah.
like to say something about it, Mama?
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Alomaja. Yes, the School Executive Forum is an annual a conference for school owners and school leaders, and this is the 11th edition. And we usually have it last Thursdays of every year, but because of election and the rest of the issues in our nation, we have scheduled it for March 16th of March. It's a Thursday also, and it promises to be a great one. This conversation that we have in the school business conference is continuing there. We are going to continue because this is a
Okay.
contemporary issue. This is a
Yeah.
burning issue now. Survivor of the fittest, adapting to the changes and the things that are happening in our world. Things are
Mm.
happening. We have invested so much in our businesses. This business can't just go off like that. A lot of educators have invested in their own professional development. I mean, they can't just go off like that. We must
Yeah.
look for a way out. So the conversation is going to address all of this and many more for this. And then our school administration, we have a school administration course at Flourish Gate Education Management Academy. That is a 3 month online program. It happens February to April, then May, and then the last batch is in September. You know, the last batch for this year just ended this last Thursday. So another one is starting next year February. I look forward to having you in class. Thank you so much once again for the opportunity. Thank you for having me. Bless.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your time. This has been a great time. So good. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay. Welcome.
Yeah, this is where we end this conference, and of course, there will also be there will also be more events coming up. Um, over and over time that you do not want to miss. In the education space, even across the nation, that are quite important to the school business. So we have to go now. We have to wrap it up here. Again, like I said, feel free to share your thoughts, ask questions in the chat box. Even beyond, I'm sure our speakers will be happy to also respond to your questions, even in the chat thread, right, on YouTube and on LinkedIn and whatever platform uh, you get to watch this conference from. Thank you for your time, and this is what we'll call it a day for today. My name is Adebayo, and we'll see you later. Bye for now. Bye.